Rocky Mountain Division. I am so excited for this next session for our SC1 conference. We have the CSP Sales Mastery Panel, and we are bringing you 5 of the greatest minds, 5 of the greatest Cutco reps in the history of Cutco, not just Rocky Mountain Division, not just Southwest region. This is in the entire company, in the history of Cutco. We have 5 of the top reps of all time that we're going to be going around the horn, everything from mentality to closing big sales to getting referrals. And you're going to learn the best tips and tricks from the best CSPs out there. First, we have from Rocky Mountain Division, Mr. Curtis Jacques. Curtis is at $7.2 million in sales. He's the #2 rep in the history of Cutco. I've gotten to work with Curtis since 2007, since I moved to Colorado, and he has helped us build Rocky Mountain Division in so many national programs. I think every single Cutco rep in the company has been impacted and benefited from Curtis, whether they've met him or not. Curtis is a Hall of Fame member, again, #2 in the history of Cutco, over 16,000 customers. He's finished #1 or #2 in the company for the past 14 years. Last year, he sold over $1 million worth of Cutco. He makes 50%, pretty easy to figure out take-home income from there. So thank you, Curtis, for being on our call. Next, we've got Miss Chelsea Banks Rodriguez from Dallas, Texas. $3.3 million in sales, #28 all time. And in my mind, #28 all time, but #1 in personality, generosity, and heart in Cutco. Are some of her favorite things: faith, family, and football. She's a Roll Tide, Alabama fan, born and raised in Tuscaloosa. She's been with Cutco for 11 years, started back in February 2009 slinging blades. She graduated debt-free from University of Alabama because of selling Cutco. She's the #27 rep all-time since 1949. Her biggest push ever, SC2 2018, her goal was to close 100 orders. She didn't have a CPO goal, just 100 orders. She never checked the totals. 2 minutes before she went on stage, she found out she had sold $62,000 worth of Cutco for the push. She has started in 4 different territories in 11 years, and she's been a badass in every single one of them. Thank you, Chelsea, for being with us tonight. We've got Mr. Robert Danbury from South Denver office, Rocky Mountain Division, $3.32 million in sales, #30 all-time in Cutco history. You and Chelsea neck and neck there. And Robert, you've been part of Rocky Mountain Division since before I came here in 2007. And Robert, you've been, I think, just the science behind selling Cutco. I think one of the most consistent and dominant forces in company history. You started September of 2000. You were out of the Army, so left the Army, started selling Cutco to start paying your way through college. You sold $100,000 in Cutco before you went branch. You ran the #1 branch in the Southwest region history at that point, $465,000 in sales for your branch, top 5 in company history at that point. 7-time All-American scholarship winner, career totals for your Hall of Fame, $3.3 million. And you're also a service call elite national trainer. That's a long title for something that means that you're really good at teaching people what you do. You've been to New Zealand, Italy, Puerto Rico, the Bahamas, Mexico, Belize, Honduras, and Aruba with Cutco. Thank you for being here. Next, we've got Miss Alicia Ander, one of my closest friends all time in Cutco. We sold Cutco together back in the early 2000s in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. I was an assistant manager back then when Alicia started, and she just took over and started kicking everybody's butt in sales. Everybody looked up to Alicia from the beginning, not just the way she sold, but the way that she ran her business. She's an unbelievable mom. She's an unbelievable friend, unbelievable business partner. She's a leader in the Northeast region on every level. #1 national team builder back in 2005. She said she won the very first version of the iPhone. That's how long she's been selling Cutco. She won the first iPhone. She's a Hall of Fame rep, Rolex winner, $2.8 million in career sales, #1 rep in the Northeast region. That is a big deal with a lot of rich history and tradition there. An event consultant for the Northeast region, federal program coordinator, national cross trainer. There's like 15 more items on your list that I can't read just for time reasons, because I'd like you guys to teach people today. You've been to Cancun a billion times, Punta Cana, Aruba, Jamaica, Grand Cayman, Cabo, Hawaii, full-time mother of 2, Ethan and Aaliyah. And your biggest week was $43,000 in sales. You're currently at $150,000 for the year. Unbelievable. Thank you, Alicia, for being on our call. And #39 all-time Cutco rep in the history of Cutco. And we've got Mr. Blake Fox, and Blake has been making a major impact on the scene in such a short period of time. You're the number 135 rep in the history of Cutco, and you haven't been around that long, but number 135 all time, $1.4 million in sales in the Hall of Fame. You were 10K fast starter, All-American the summer of 2014. Your biggest year, $335,000 in sales last year, Hall of Fame member, and you've won 5 national trips. I would say this is a good crew to learn from. Robert, as the veteran in age and rep number, I'll let you start off with us. I want to know from everybody, why did you decide to become a CSP? And what do you love about being a CSP?
Basically, the list of everything that I look for in a job that appeals to me personally is offered here. So I get to do my schedule. I get to be autonomous. I get to take my vacation when and where I want to go. And really, I mean, without just being like pushing a button and give me $1 million, which doesn't exist, I can make my own income at the same time. So everything that I like about a job that I want, and working with cool people, it's all here. So it was pretty easy for me after school just to transition and do it full time. There was nothing else out there that was even close in amount of time or amount of pay.
1 year turned into 2 years, and 2 years turned into 5, and 5 years turned into 11. They won't let me quit, Drew. I've tried to leave 3 times. And you know what keeps pulling me back?
What's that?
The 3 Ps: products, people, and programs. Our product has never been better. It's always been good, but it keeps getting better. We keep coming out with even better products that our customers love, and they want to buy more stuff. So that makes it easy to sell. The people, this is a family. You become a CSP because you want to be around for a long time and learn from the greats, and eventually, hopefully, become one of the greats. And I think about Cutco and the fact that 75% of our groomsmen and bridesmaids in my husband and my wedding, 75% were Cutco CSPs. It's the people. And then lastly, it's the programs. I mean, we keep coming out with new programs like the events program, how amazing that is. We don't do just demos anymore. And we have the federal program where we sell on military bases. We have the realtor program. We have the service call program. We have the past customer marketing program. I mean, I created a referral program, and it's not even really named a program, but it's program in my head. So products, people, programs, man, they keep getting better.
I think about it. I mean, when I started off, I wasn't even planning on, full-time sales rep. I was going to be a manager. That was my goal, to hit 150 grand in career sales and then open an office. And when I hit 150, I was like, oh, I kind of like this sales thing. I'm going to keep going for another 100 grand. And next thing you know, 15 years later, CSP all the way. And I think about the main things that keep me going is like the money, the flexibility, and the travel. I mean, money obviously is like a lot of reason people start this job. And I think back to when I was 19, when I got my first $1,000 paycheck, and I would bring that I would bring that to parties. I would tell all my friends because no one believed me, and I would like show it off. And then that's how I became the #1 team builder that year. And it's just so cool to see that you can also have like a $10,000 paycheck, and you can totally control what you earn, which is something I really love. And just the flexibility for me is mostly important with the kids. I coach their sports. I'm PTA mom. I chaperone their sports, or chaperone their trips. And to be able to do all that, be a full-time stay-at-home mom and also a full-time Cutco rep, I think is pretty special.
What's the biggest paycheck you've gotten?
Yeah, my first 10 grand one was awesome. The biggest one I got was about 16 grand. Yeah. And it was 22, by the way, not 16. I just was like, wait a second.
Who's counting?
I know. After I was like, wait.
Yeah. Curtis, why CSP?
Well, it's in the name, professional. I think as growing up as a child, we always thought of, the professionals are where it's at. And having the title of knowing that I'm a professional at something is very important to me. I find myself a professional at sales, professional at relationships, professional at every aspect of the job, which is encouraging to me. I think the other thing too is job security. When you're a CSP, you do have a job security because you look at your business as a business rather than just a side job. And that comes with the professionalism that we carry as a CSP, which we perform at a higher level. We hold ourselves at a higher level. we perform at a higher level, and just your whole attitude and your whole mental thought of being a CSP changes the way that you sell and how you focus your attention to everything that you do. And that's the main purpose of me being a CSP.
Yeah, so I was the kid in training that was like, if I could just sell $6,000, I would be completely content with the job. And 10 days later, I sold $10,000, and then kind of just started my journey. And then I found out, hey, like if I really became serious about this, I can really have a great life and build great income. So I would say my favorite thing is, the lifestyle that comes with being a CSP. We have flexibility, we have great income. We're able to travel at whenever we want, essentially. So I just love the lifestyle behind it and all the friends and community behind it and everything as far as that goes.
What is your mentality? What's your thought process going into a presentation?
My mindset is like, you never know who that one person you're going to meet is. That one person that you just thinks a demo could be that person that changes your life. That could be the next person that buys, the $1 million Cutco order, or, something that really is special to you, but you just don't know. So that's my mindset going into every single appointment. Also, it's never a matter of like whether the customer is going to buy. It's a matter of what they're going to buy, because, I truly believe that our product's the best. So we should sell them everything.
Yeah. Mindset for me is like one of the biggest things I love talking about. I mean, on my fridge, I've had this for 10 years. What you focus on expands. And I believe that 110%. So anytime I'm walking into appointments or a show or anywhere, I just think about like what I do a self-check on. What is my energy like right now? What do I want to create right now? What do I visualize right now? I think it's important to take the time to do that. So if you walk into an appointment and you're thinking, oh, I hope they buy something, or if you're walking into that appointment thinking, I'm going to sell them $5,000-$10,000, that's a huge difference. Visualizing, believing it, getting really detailed with what you sell. I do that too. Not all the time, but I think it's fun when you really like hone in on exactly what you want to sell that day or on that appointment. I remember Habucky told me one day, he's like, what are you going to sell on this appointment? I said, white homie +8 in a cherry block. And no lie, I walked out with a white homie +8 in a cherry block. And it just blew my mind, the power of your thoughts. So I think just always making sure you do a mental check. What's your energy like? What's your body language like? Are you having limited beliefs? Are you limiting what you could do? Or are you telling yourself that, like Blake said, that one person could be your biggest order? And really a big shift for me was when I started believing like every person I meet could have the potential to spend like 10, 20 grand with me. And I know not everybody could, but that was my belief. And that's how I treated everybody. And that's when I started seeing those $10,000 orders, when I started believing I could do it.
Love that. I remember we started in the same office back in the early 2000s. And I remember we used to be taught to like walk up to the customer's door, knock on the door, and then like hold your sample, turn around in a circle, hop on one foot 10 times, say homemaker, 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 homemaker. And if the customer opened the door while you were doing it, it's even better luck.
Totally gonna go to work tomorrow and hop on one foot and say homemaker, 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 because I've never heard that in my life, and I'm gonna see if it works. I'll let you know. Mindset for me is simple. There's been different phases in my life because I'm the girl, those that know me know I didn't come from a lot of money. I came from a family with a lot of things like love and connection and relationships. Like we mean everything to each other, but I didn't come from the crowd of people that buy homemakers and $2,000 sets of cookware. So I have molded over the years, and my only focus has ever been serve the customer in front of me. That's it. I don't care if they want a paring knife at a discount or if they want a full set or they are open to the concept of a kitchen. It's really fun figuring out what each customer's buying potential is when they're in front of you. And for me, it's just serve the customer, fix their problem. And it does make me think about someone that I met yesterday. They gave me these broken remnants of a piece of knives. They were like, we've looked at the website 3 times and we want to ship it back and get it replaced, but it's still closed because the pandemic. And I just took the broken remnants of this trimmer with taps playing in the background, and I gave them a brand new trimmer that I had in stock. And I'm not saying that your people need to do that. I just had a brand new trimmer. I gave them mine. They were blown away. And that's all it's about. It was not about a sale. It was just about serving the customer in front of you. And that's always my mindset.
So my mindset when going into a demo or a show is education first. A lot of times what people want to do is they want to be educated on what they're seeing and why I'm there and what's going on. A lot of times, with the Cutco demo, you'll see that we educate, and then we ask for the order. I think that that's something that you need to wrap your mind around is you have to educate the person before they'll say yes to the dress or yes to the knife or whatever it is, which is very important to me to educate first and to know that if I educate them properly, that a sale is going to happen with every single one of those customers, whether, like Chelsea said, a paring knife or ultimate set or a Cutco kitchen. When the customer is educated very well and they know exactly who we are, what we're doing, what we're creating, and how long it's going to last, they're more likely to open up that budget and let us know, exactly what's on their mind. So for me, mindset is education, then sales second. Every customer deserves Cutco. Every customer should have Cutco. And my main thing is we should get rid of bad knives in every kitchen. And, I am the tool and the key person that's going to help get rid of those knives out of people's lives that are terrible. The other thing to go with that, Drew, is that those no sales, if we treat them right and we give them all the education and they might need time to think about it, you'll notice that if you do the right things, they come back and they buy from you and they only want to deal with you in the future. So that's why you have to know not to treat it any differently than someone that buys.
Really taking time to listen to the customer. If you listen to the customer and what words they use and how they use them, I like to find out about other experiences they've had with salespeople or buying things and all that. And my main goal in getting them Cutco is to provide some type of extra value on top of that too, so that their experience with, Knife Guy Roberts, my tagline, they remember and they have something, whatever that is, that's completely situational, but it's to provide them extra value in some way that they're not used to getting.
All right, my next question is, what are some just your philosophies on building rapport and your best strategies and tips to make a connection?
What it comes down to really, Drew, I wrote this down, is stop selling Cutco. It's all about service and education, right? But when it comes to building relationships with your people, sell them on you, like sell them on me. Cutco is so accessible today, now more than ever. It's in so many places. There's stores popping up, there's bases, there's realtors giving it to people that buy houses. Cutco is so accessible. They can buy it in a catalog online. They don't have to come to me. So what's going to make them come to me versus going to the next guy or whatever? When it comes to relationships, it's all about having fun with people and being infectious. Have that likability factor, that virus that everybody wants. Like, they want to be around someone who's likable and fun and makes it energetic to spend thousands of dollars. I'll give you one last scenario. This morning, an older man was walking past the event that I was working at. He's a veteran, and he was looking at the products, and you could look at his face and tell that he was interested, but he was shy because he knew it was expensive. And he had a coffee cup in his hand, and I said, off just the cuff, I said, "Hi there, sir. Had your coffee yet today?" He goes, "Oh, well, I just got it. Hadn't drank much of it yet." I said, "Well, I hope you drink it fast, because nothing will wake you up faster than slapping $2,000 on the Amex at this booth." And he just dies out laughing. And he ended up buying a little 5-piece. But it's just the one-liners and having fun with it. Follow your scripts, follow your manual, but just love on people. People buy Cutco because they like it. But people buy Cutco a lot and more often because they really like the rep.
I fall on the same line of providing extra service, which is just paying attention to what the customer does or has. Some people got the cool stuff in the driveway, and my first opening line is "Oh, this is so awesome. I'm just going to trade you everything in our book and, take that Raptor out of your driveway. We'll call it even, and I'll be on my way." And they laugh, and then I'm like, "Well, you may be up there, but that's okay." But my I do stupid jokes. That's my thing. And then my overall favorite stuff on a serious note to talk about is just traveling, because it's something that you can do with your customer, but you also enjoy. So, at some point I learned, like, a lot of people were telling me to do this, but that's because what they enjoy to talk about with their customers. So I had to figure out something that I enjoy doing, which is traveling, and I can talk educationally and knowledgeably about places I've been or what's cool to do in different things. And that's what I talk with all my customers about, as long as they enjoy traveling too. If not, we'll find something else, but that's my favorite thing.
First thing is being real, being honest, upfront, and telling them the truth. If you know that they're using something wrong, or they're buying something that they're not going to want or they're not going to like, I'm straight up with them and I say, probably you just shouldn't buy this. And the reason why is because if I'm honest, I'm truthful, and I'm upfront, and I'm real with the customer, they know that I'm not just there for myself. A lot of times when we're in sales, the first thing that people think of, oh, he's doing this because he needs the money, or he's doing this because the motive is that I am doing this for me and not for them. And when you're honest and you're upfront, they know that right away there is not me versus you. It's us in this together, because in the long run, I'm going to be the guy that's still here. Those other reps, they're going to go, and I'm still going to be the guy that's servicing you, taking care of you, selling you more knives. So for me with rapport is that just be upfront and real with them. If you know that they could save more money by buying a chest of flatware than buying eight 5-piece place settings, be upfront and say, you know what, for a couple $100 more, you could get, the whole chest. It would be smart of you just to do that rather than spending more in the long run, right? The other thing too is that when you're building rapport with customers, don't make up something or lie about something. If you don't know, I just straight up say, hey, that's a good question. I'm going to have to go ask and find that information. And once I know, I'll let you know.
You got to get really good at asking questions, and you have to get even better at being a good listener. So those are the two big things I think for building rapport. People love to talk, and they especially love to talk about themselves or their loved ones. So I just keep asking questions until I see something kind of spark up in them. You kind of watch their body language or tonality, and you see when they get excited about something, and that's when I'll dive in. And I think it's all about listening. It's about finding that connection. I do try and talk about things that I enjoy as well, because you want to be genuine with the conversation. And so I think building that connection is finding something you guys might have in common. People love talking about their kids and grandkids and pets. So those are always easy go-tos. If you get lost with building rapport, just those, almost every single person will have either a kid, a grandkid, a pet, or a niece or nephew, something that they would love to talk about and show pictures of. You also asked just to keep customers engaged, like during the demo. I noticed, like, sometimes if you see customers start like dozing off or just kind of like getting a little lose interest, I think you just need to stop talking and just go and ask them a question. And I usually go to non-Cutco related. By the way, what are your plans for this weekend? Doing anything fun? What's your favorite meal to cook? Do you guys have any plans tonight? Any good TV show? Like, I just kind of totally go way off topic if I see them losing a little interest, and just get them talking again and just get that energy back.
I think one of the things that you and I were taught many years ago was that if your customer is talking just as much as you during the presentation, that's a good presentation. So you want to be balanced and not just be in their face.
Right. Yeah.
Blake, how do you build rapport?
Like Alicia said, find what makes them tick. Don't be interesting, be interested, right, in them. And then ask follow-up questions. So, if they say, oh, well, we have 4 kids. Oh, nice. Well, what grade are they? How old are they? And then keep talking about those things and keep asking those follow-up questions, because that actually shows that you're, 1, listening, and 2, that you're truly interested, right? And truly remember those things, because next time you go to see that customer, you can truly dive into, like, oh, by the way, how is, your son that just moved off to, Hawaii, or how is your daughter that's living in California? You can really dive in, and they're like, wow, this guy actually remembers who I am. It remembers my family, and that's really close connection. If you think about your friends when you go out, you don't have to retell the story. They're like, hey, remember that one time? You're like, yeah, this is crazy, right? So just, try to build that with your customers as well.
how do you talk about sets? How do you build value with customers? I know it all correlates to some of the things you've mentioned, but what are the specific either phrases or thoughts that you want your customer to really take home? Chelsea?
I just have one-liner to share. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. When a customer wants to buy pieces or something less than a set, every single time I say, hey, no problem, Miss Jones. If you're really just in the market for a couple pieces, that's fine. Just so you know, this is the good stuff, not the cheap stuff. So when you look at just pieces, just so you know, the average piece of Cutco, the going rate these days is about $100. Some are more, some are less. But if we just looked at one of our packages or sets, you're going to get each piece at a huge discount. Would you be okay if I showed you that?
I love that. Could you say that one more time?
I just say, hey, no problem if you just want to look at pieces. Just so you know, the going rate these days for the average Cutco knife is about $100. This is the good stuff, not the cheap stuff. So most of our customers just look at our packages or our sets, because when you do a package or a set, every piece, you get a huge discount. Would you be open to me just showing you those real quick?
The main things I think about is price positioning and price comparison. I think those are the two big things there for building value. Just like Chelsea said, I mentioned very early on that the average Cutco knifes are around $130. And whether it's at a show or an appointment, I kind of point to a set, like say it's the Homemaker. I'm like, and this is an 18-piece set, Mrs. Jones, you can do the math. And I kind of just watch their head be like, oh, okay. And they, add it up in their mind, and I just let that settle. I think it's important. And then also the price comparison, man, the original way we were taught price comparison works really well, like using Wusthof, using Shun, making their numbers not sound that expensive. The same exact size set of Wusthof will cost easy $3,000, sometimes on sale for $2,000, which is such a steal. I make that, just making the price comparison of other brands just sound like such a good price. By the time you're done with that, customers are going to be thinking like the Homemaker is going to be $2,500, $3,500. So when you say $1,326, so many customers have told me, wow, I was not expecting that. That is such a good deal, because it's all about the price positioning and price comparison. I also lean really heavy on American made, guaranteed forever. Like Chelsea said, this is not the cheap stuff, Mrs. Jones. It's something you buy once and you're done. You'll have it forever and pass it down generation to generation. And I think the biggest thing is when saying that, you have to have a lot of confidence, making sure your customers see you actually believing that, because that's really powerful the way you present it as well.
I would say the biggest thing is your confidence. If you don't have confidence in it, they're not going to have confidence in it. If you go into Apple to buy a new phone, they're not going to go, oh, well, I don't know if you should buy this $1,000 iPhone. They're going to go, no, this is the best thing. Of course you need it. Let's do this. Give me your $1,000. We'll sign you up on a payment plan, right? So you should have the same confidence. Plus, this customer is going to spend $1,000, but it's going to be with them a lot longer than, their phone for 2 years. So that's my confidence. The second thing is using language that reassures the customer. So, things like, you're going to love this, Miss Jones. Oh, I can't wait till you cut your first onion. Oh my gosh, it's going to be amazing, right? Just painting that picture with the customer, it really makes them feel it, right? And that's what sales is all about, is that emotion behind it. So make them feel it. Get really good at your names and uses section. Reason why people don't buy sets is because they don't think they're going to use what comes in it. So really identify those things and get really good at the names and uses section.
I think the thing that people need to realize is that people want sets. We don't necessarily sell what people want. We always sell what they need. And needs never happen. Wants always come true. So the thing is, if you know that and you have that in the back of your mind, then we have to sell them the experience of owning a set of knives. When they buy individuals, they're not going to get the full experience out of what Cutco has to offer if they buy one or two knives. And I'm very upfront with my customers, like, hey, I totally could sell you those 2 or 3 knives. You're going to use them to death. They're going to go dull right away, just like every knife does. And then you're going to hate us because you didn't get the full experience of having the right tools for the right task. Some people look at the knives as like shoes, right? Everybody needs a pair of sneakers. Mrs. Jones, that's going to be your trimmer. That's going to be your paring knife. Those are your everyday, all-day purpose. But Mrs. Jones, you also need a stiletto when you have those nice events or those nice things. That's going to be your carver. That's going to be, your butcher knife. But the thing is that you have to understand that you need everything in the set rather than buying individually.
You can see something, right? When you talk with a customer and during a pour or otherwise, you're like, oh yeah, we used to have this couch and then that table and this thing. Everybody has gone through the process of buying a part of something, whether it's the bedroom set, the dining room set, the pots and pans or whatever it is, and they bought something cheap or they bought something partially. And everybody's done it in some way. And then you just like, hey, when you did that, and then you did the other thing, and then you tried to pick pieces together, then what'd you do anyway? Yeah, we just bought the whole thing. Way better, right? Right? Yep. And they said, so how much did you spend anyway? Oh, more than I would have spent in the first place, right? Yep. And you have them tell you what you already know. And like Cutco's the exact same way. You're going to buy 3 pieces now and then 2 the next, and you're going to want these and want these and want these. And what Curtis echoed is you will spend more, and you guys can use that because they show the prices now, which are, this is what it would cost all pieced out, and this is what it would cost, right? And if you buy this knife this year and this knife next year and that knife next year, and you build a set over the next 5, 7, 10 years, guess what you're also going to be paying for, Mrs. Jones? Price increases. Everything goes up, doesn't it? Right? So I can really show the customer that not only would they spend this much more now, they'd spend that much more in the future comparatively, and then you have a really like a triple price comparison in that respect.
When you get to the close, when you get to page 8, 9, Robert, I'll start with you. What's your best focus or strategy or tip for actually closing the sale? Where does your confidence come from, and what are your tips on closing big sales?
Mm-hmm. That really was a change in mindset for me when I was newer. And, I had this talk with my manager back then, which was like, not only have I not spent, $1,000 on anything, I wouldn't have that opportunity because that's not in my bank account, right? Those kind of things when you're 18, 19, 20. So what I started doing was I just started asking. So I took it upon myself to talk to my friends and family and customers and everybody who was basically older and had gone through the process of buying things for the home and this and that, right? Or like you think $1,000 or $2 is a lot. Ask what somebody remodeled their bathroom for or put a deck on the house for or whatever, right? And people drop 20, 30, 50 grand every year after year on their home over and over again. So $1,000 or $2 in the end isn't that big. And we relate that to the just long-term investment that you get. Yeah, your bathroom is going to be great. But you're probably, when you move those, whatever, that cabinet, that whatever's not going with you, guess what it is? Your knives, right? Or your pans or your silverware.
From experience, 11 years doing this, whenever they give you an objection, you're going to get objections. And if you don't expect to get objections when you're closing, then we're not doing our job right. Like, I know they're going to object about something. They're going to say, I need to think about it, or I need to talk to my spouse, or I'll come back and do this later, or my dog just went to the vet, whatever. It's always something. So what I have started saying every appointment, every demo, every time, when I get the objection, I say, hey, no problem. It sounds like, and then I repeat their objection back to them. That proves to them I was listening. So while I'm closing, I'm not just asking for the sale again, because I've already asked for the sale once. They gave me an objection. I repeat that objection back to them. And then I say, so it sounds like blah, 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 blah. Hey, just real quick, I've been doing this for 11 years and I'm just curious. Typically when a customer tells me X, Y, Z, their objection, it really just means one of two things. It really just means the reason you want to hold off and hesitate on actually getting this, because it seems like you really like it, is one, you're unsure of the pieces or package I just showed you, or two, you're just not really certain you want to budget that much on knives today. It's one of those two things, Ms. Jones. It's usually you're unsure of the package and the pieces, or you're unsure of the price and the budget. Is it one of those for you? I'm just curious. And 9 times out of 10, they say, honestly, I just really don't want to spend that much on knives today. Boom, drop down to a smaller package and close it. That's the step that so many reps miss. They don't really identify what the real objection is. And Curtis talked earlier about being honest. Be real with your people. uncover that veil. I've even done that with customers. I'm like, hey, Miss Jones, okay, I'm stepping behind the curtain. Let's have a chat. Like, I want them to know that I'm being honest and real, and I'm in this with you. I'm not against you here. And if this is not right for you because of the budget or because of the pieces, then we should look at something different. And I think a lot of reps forget to ask that question. Is it the pieces or is it the budget? And let me help you from there. So that's what it takes to actual closing orders.
So I think the biggest thing is closing for the customer. It's something you're doing for the customer. It's not something you're doing to the customer. I think that's the natural perception of sales, is that you're doing something to them, and it's not true at all. You're really helping them out in the long run. They're going to be a lot happier with that package or that bigger order. The thing is, though, when you're talking about big orders or big things or big purchases, is you got to understand that, it's all about the discount. It's not about the free stuff. If you want to sell a larger set, give them a discount. When you go to buy a, BMW or something, they give you a discount. They don't just give you the free keychain, right? They're not like, because you're buying this X5, you get the keychain, right? So keep that in mind when you're working with customers, is they appreciate the discount, and you'll get them to buy a lot more if you utilize discounts to your favor. So, if you want to upsell them on, pots and pans, flatware, gadgets, sets for their kids, is, hey, if you buy multiples, you get a better discount when you do that. So, and that will get the customer to then ask you. Getting the customer to ask you about the discounts is very important when it comes to the psychological standpoint of where a customer's at, because then they're more likely to buy it if they're asking you to show them.
To clear up for anybody that might be confused, discount meaning that you're just giving some of the items for free to lower the price, and then you're able to tell them this is how much you save. So you can say this percentage off is your discount compared to what the normal price would be. So just want to make sure that's clear. But you guys do a great job of running discount, whereas they say, what's the discount on that? Well, what would the discount be on that? So the more you talk about it, the more they take interest.
Yeah, big sales. I mean, I think the name of the game is just starting high. I mean, you want to close a big order, you got to show a big order, you got to ask for a big order, got to have the confidence in asking. And, starting at the Cutco kitchen, if you want to sell big packages, you got to be able to show them. And I think starting high is where it's at. And I think it's important to know, like, if you haven't sold a Cutco kitchen yet, that's totally fine. You can use other clients in the company and just use them as examples. And, like before I ever sold a Cutco kitchen, I would still say some customers like to do the Cutco kitchen just to get rid of everything they collected over the years and replace it with all American made, forever guaranteed Cutco for their kitchen. And just saying that, it made it sound like I've sold multiple of them, but I was just leaning on other customers that have bought them before. I think that's important too, letting people know, like, this is what people do. I think it's like concept selling, selling, like being able to paint that picture of them having everything matching, everything American, everything guaranteed is really huge as well. And also just big orders. The silly thing of don't forget to ask, like, how many. Again, Drew, we learned that that was like day 2 of training or something, to always ask how many. And I think before they giggle and laugh, I say, I know that might sound silly, but Mrs. Jones, honestly, I've had customers that do want to buy an extra set for their kids, or they want to stock up on wedding gifts or buy for another home. And if you give them examples and scenarios, you might see them kind of perk up, or oh, that's a good idea. And you'll never get that order if you don't ask for it. So always don't forget to ask for that. How many do you want? And then the last thing would be the pro tip of just noticing the room and the vibes, I think, is really important. I've learned to not ask for the close unless I was 95, 100% sure they're going to say yes. If you get that vibe that they are not ready to say yes, if you think you're going to ask and they're going to say no, and don't ask yet. Dial back a little bit, ask some more questions, make sure it's the right set for them. Make sure it fits in the budget for them, do the reassurance close like Curtis teaches, remind them everything American made and guaranteed before you ask. So I think, that takes a little practice to be able to read people, but I think that's really important. And you'll notice you'll get a lot more yeses if you make sure you wait for the perfect timing. And then the last thing, of course, that I like, this is another bonus thing, but don't always forget to upsell. You get that credit card, you get them to say yes. Guys, that is halftime. That is halfway through your demo. You get that credit card, you are not done your pitch. You're halfway there. So just knowing that you know, that $1,000 order, you can double, triple, quadruple. Once you get that credit card and once you get that yes, will be game changer.
So the big thing is packages and programs. That's something that a lot of times people don't even bring up. People don't even know that we have package deals. They don't even know that we have programs like the family program. And the thing is, knowledge is everything to the customer. You know, by letting them know, hey, we have some new programs, we have some new packages that we offer our customers if they're looking for a second home, an RV, a camper, if they're looking for their family members, friends, aunts, uncles. Shoot, we have so many business people that are buying business gifts where they put their company name and logo on them. I just want you to be aware that we have so many different programs and so many different packages that are available to you as a customer with Cutco. Unlike when you go to a store, there's no programs and packages. It's this is the price, this is what you get. We actually cater to you, and we want to make sure that you get what you want and what you need for everyone and anything, whether that's the holidays, that's for upcoming events, weddings, anniversaries, birthdays, all of that. So for me, it's just giving them that idea that, hey, there's other stuff out there besides just buying a set of knives for your kitchen. You know, one thing that brings up with like what Alicia just said is we do the Homemaker plus 12, right? You get the Homemaker plus 8 plus an extra 4 table knives because some customers need an extra 4 for their family. You know, there's just so many different avenues and different things that you got to make sure that you're aware of, that you also let your customer know that we have and is available to them as well. The other thing too is that you need to come from an experience of people buy thousands and tens of thousands of dollars worth of Cutco. Now you might not have sold that much, but just know that there's people out there. If you haven't sold a Homemaker or you haven't sold an Ultimate yet, well, guess what? They're selling like crazy out there, and that if you don't know how to do it, you need to reach out to someone that is selling them and let them teach you how to do it. So just make sure that you have that out there. The other thing too is make a wish list with your customers. One of the big things that I do with my customers is I sit down and I ask them to make a wish list. You know, this is for the future. If you don't buy it now, at least we have something so that if you want to get it later on, if there's a sale on it, I can let you know. So many times I'll be sitting there talking to a customer and they're like, well, someday I wish that I could give my kids a set of Cutco. Well, how many children do you have? Oh, you have 4. Oh, that's the perfect number, because we actually have this program called the family program where if you buy 3 sets, you get 1 free. So you have the perfect number. You know what I mean? Just stuff like that when you're building the wish list. The other thing that's nice about that is that you can literally take that wish list where you go through every product that's in the book, right? Could you ever see yourself owning the #1 can opener in the world? Could you ever see yourself using a peeler? Could you see yourself using a barbecue tool set? Do you see yourself using hunting, fishing, outdoor, sporting, camping gear? Yes. Okay, great. What knives or what items do you think in the future you would be able to use or buy or would like to have? Then you can start building that wish list. And what I like to do is I go, now I do this with my customers just for fun because I want to see what kind of shiggles I'm going to get, right? And the customer's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm going to price out everything on your wish list just so you know the value of all the Cutco that you could potentially buy, right? And there's sometimes, shoot, I had a customer that had a $400,000 wish list. Now, yes, he builds homes for a living and was looking at, 200 galley sets and blah, blah, that was so incredible, like getting to show him that, because then my confidence level knows there's going to be someone out there that's going to say yes to that order. And I'm going to be the one that's going to get it because I showed it to them. But the other thing that's nice about doing that is that you can show them the potential. And then what you do is, just like Blake said, rock bottom that price. Give them the best discount possible and just go, if it's a $10,000 wish list, give it to them at $7,800. And if they say no, well, guess what? At least you offered them a $7,800 order. Now when it comes to that ultimate set that's $2,700, that's chump change compared to $8,000, right? So build that expectation, build that wish list, and just let them know we got packages, programs, we got lots of things for you.
I just focus on the concept selling aspect of it. It's not about the price. It's about the value of them building a wish list, Drew, regardless of price. And the phrase I use a lot is a toolbox. Say, hey, while we're building this wish list, if you look here in front of you, these are all just tools. This pot and pan is a tool. That flatware is a tool. Every piece that comes in this ultimate set is a tool. Miss Jones, do you have a toolbox? You do? You got hammers, wrenches, multiple screwdrivers in there? Well, that's what all of this stuff is. It's just tools for your kitchen. So I'm just curious, what tools would you want in your kitchen? If they were all free, what do we want to put in your toolbox for the kitchen? I love talking about the toolbox because everybody gets it. It's an analogy that just makes sense. And they understand the fact that a hammer can't do what a screwdriver does. And a wrench is not going to do what, I don't know, a monkey wrench. I don't know tools. I just get the analogy of toolbox. So do I look like a tool kind of girl?
Everything the same. I say, hey, Cutco, if Cutco was free today and the customers, eyes light up, what would you get for you? What would you get for your family? What would you get for your neighbors, your business, et cetera, all doing the same things. And then going through and just having fun, keeping notes. Who would that be for? Why would you like that? Right? Kind of reassuring it and reframing that. Yes, I will use this. It's not just picking it just to pick it, right? And then really in the end, I just kind of take the same approach of like, oh yeah, well, I don't really ask customer, can I show you? I just start working on it and I do. I'm like, hey, I did this. This is what it would be. And I like to give them that comparison that, yeah, if you bought this, you'd save, that much more as opposed to just your set, what you're saving on here, because it's always a possibility. And then reassuring at the end, remember, this is just for those certain percentage of customers, not everybody will do it, but reassuring at the end as part of service, like, hey, don't worry, we can build your Cutco kitchen over time and I'm still going to get you hooked up, right? You never want to leave the customer with just you buy this for a deal or, I'm not getting this deal on nothing on a smaller package.
I always build a wish list with every single person that I close on as well, because that's usually my strategy to upsell. Obviously, not everyone adds on a whole wish list, but my goal is always to get a majority of that wish list added to that first order. So, but I'm really laid back. I start off by saying, Mrs. Jones, okay, now that you got this set, you're going to love it so much. I always like to make a wish list for my clients. That way, if anything goes on sale in the future, I can let you know. So it's like very laid back. It's about future things, which a lot of the time it is. But I think when you get their wish list, a lot of the questions, like Robert said, if things were free, what would you get for yourself, your loved ones, business gifts? I always ask, what is your ideal forever set? So you're getting this set now. What is that, like, what size set is your forever set? So you know what size they want to upgrade to. And I think the key to all that is getting a timeline. Okay, when do you think you'll be considering this stuff? And if, 6 months, 12 months, and if they're saying it's within like 6 months to 8 months, you could add that on for sure. Over 12 months might be a little harder, but I find if it's before a year, you have a little more leverage to add that on because it's usually a 5 pay. And you talk about, how prices always go up every year and things like that. But my wish list, my tricks for that is really just giving them a better deal, adding it to their package today, being really laid back about it, and just also being aware of things that they showed interest in throughout the appointment as well. Oh, Mrs. Jones, I remember you said you love to garden, just like being really aware of things that they were interested in and adding that towards the end as well. Oh, you said you have 4 kids, right? Do they have Cutco yet? So just bringing all that stuff you talked about in rapport back up.
This is it's all really good stuff. I think the key to the wish list though is the interest level in the customer. I mean, why does the customer want the cookware? How much education did you give them to make them want it, right? You can't just be like, oh, it's just another pan, because that's why they're in the situation they're in, because they just bought the other pans, right? So I think it comes from a standpoint of Curtis always says is education on why a customer should get that, right? So really knowing your products deep down, that way you can get a customer interested enough to even put it on the wish list, right? You want things that actually mean things to the customer. instead of just putting all these things that you think are valuable on a wish list for them. So because a Cutco kitchen doesn't mean anything if they don't want it, right? Because at the end of the day, they're buying things they are going to need and want.
What is your best tip or strategy for maintaining communication, maintaining relationships, setting yourself up for a future sale? What are one or two things that you do to either set the stage for customer retention or to make sure that you have a solid relationship moving forward? Chelsea, you want to start us off?
If you want to be here a long time, you need to have a customer retention tool to stay in touch with them. But more importantly, when it comes to following up with customers and retaining them, you have to be consistent. You can't be this amazing, likable, insanely awesome person in front of them the minute you get the sale. And then the first time they come to you with a broken trimmer, you just push them off, or they email you 5 times and you don't respond. Like, you've got to be consistent with the person that they initially invested in, because they're not just investing in a Cutco. So I would say get a CRM, be consistent, and have fun with it.
Another thing that you can do to build a better relationship is, call them a month after they get the order, just to check in with them. And, never make it about a sale on the check-in call. It's always, do you have your fingers? Haha, I'm glad you're loving everything. And just, be there for the customer.
Yeah, I think about the importance of customer follow-up. I mean, guys, once people buy Cutco, they're going to buy more Cutco. And it's all about if they're going to buy it from you or somewhere else. So I think it's very important to follow up with your customers. They will buy from you again. A couple easy things is like having the rep portal, that just shows very professional. Just like Chelsea talked about with the emails, you can send emails through your rep portal. I think that's a really good first step. Making sure you always do what you say you're going to do. Your reputation and your word is everything. You're also representing Cutco, and we have a really good reputation. So just remember that when you're out and about, it's not just about you, you're also representing our business and our company. Give them great deals. Customers love, when you tell them you have deals for your past customers, they'll keep coming back to you. And I think one of the biggest things is also just sharing goals, sharing the things that you're experiencing with Cutco, and just sharing your appreciation. I mean, every single order I say, thank you so much for your business. I really appreciate it. And they're like, you're welcome. They feel good about being appreciated. So I think those are the big things. But yeah, just making sure you're staying in touch. Thank you cards, check-in calls, emails. Customers love it. Do you remember that year I wrote out 200 Christmas holiday cards and taped a candy cane to every single card? It took me forever, but customers loved it. That was early on. Now I pay assistant to do that, but yeah.
It's a good back in the Cherry Hill days. Excellent. Robert, what about you?
The bottom line to think about for when you guys are new is that all of these things provide extra value, right? Regardless of what you want to do, choose some way that you enjoy and that you think your customers will and provide extra value. And one of the things that helped me when I was new is systemizing it. So if it's going to take a while to get to a level where you get an assistant or other things like that. But basically it means set aside a day in your schedule once a month or 2 hours each week. And this is just blocked off. This is when I do my customer follow-up. And that can be anything that you want to do, that any of these great ideas that you heard, and you'll hear plenty more as you do. But make that time in your schedule and make it consistent, and you'll automatically be providing that extra value, and that's what you want.
Most of the people that are going to be watching this or that are on here are starting off their careers. And one of the things that I learned from the very beginning is that the foundation of your business is the most important foundation of anything that you're doing. And customer retention is the biggest thing. People always talk about, oh, well, if you lose a customer, it doesn't mean anything. Well, in Cutco, if you lose a customer, it's a big deal because those customers can order from you for life. And I have customers that literally bought from me, 16 years ago that are continually buying every single year. And without having that foundation of customers, it's really hard to hit those next levels and those numbers that everybody looks at. Everybody looks at, oh, Curtis sold $1 million. What they didn't look at is that last year, $550,000 of my business came from my repeat customers. that means more than half my business came from people that were already on my database. So some of the things that I would encourage you as a new representative, Blake said it, Alicia said it, Chelsea said it. What you need to do is, one, you need to give thank you notes. One of the things that I learned as a new rep is after I got done with my demo or after I got done with the customer, I wrote down all the notes of everything that I learned from that person and everything that I could know about that person. And I sent them a thank you note that was based on it. Hey, it was so nice seeing Pete, your dog. He was great. He licked my heels and everything and da-da-da-da-da, whatever it has to be, right? But that was just something that my customers remembered, right? After the appointment, I sent them out a thank you card. Right now we're doing everything virtual. So the thing is that it's easy for you to send them an email thanking them for taking the time and giving you the attention. Because our world right now is so crazy and everybody wants our attention. But what's great is when they get that human relationship right from the very beginning, that we're all real people. So that was one of the first things that I did. The second thing that I did when I first started Cutco is that I called my customers once they received their product. It was always a week after they got it because I could look and see that their package was actually sent to them and seeing that it was delivered. First thing I always say is, hey, Kathy, this is Curtis. I'm just calling you to make sure you got your knives. Do you still have all your fingers? And then next thing you know, she's laughing. Oh my gosh, yes, I love them so much, blah, 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 blah. Hey, I'm so grateful that you allowed me to do the demo. I'm so grateful that you're part of my team. This family is going to be here for a long period of time. I don't expect to go anywhere, and I'm so grateful that you're part of it. By doing that when I first started, and I continually do that now when I see, customers that see me at a show or an event, or I do a service call, we still have emails that go out to them. We still have thank yous. We still have that appreciation, because that customer appreciation is the thing that literally keeps retain and keeps customers coming back. Text messaging, people love getting text messages now instead of reading an email, so don't just focus on emails. Physical paper is a big thing. We talked about letters, postcards. Those are just something that you can easily do. The other thing is, if someone refers someone to you, call them and say how great that referral was. Let them know that you had a fun time with that person. And then if they buy something, get them excited about their friend buying Cutco as well. Everything that you do in the beginning of your career adds up. And the more and more you do it, the more and more customer database you get, the more of a following you have, so that at Christmas or the holiday time, you come back from college or school, you send out that quick email that says, hey, I'm back in town, still doing Cutco. Is there any way that I can serve you? Then all of a sudden you'll get those customers that are pouring in with buying product, adding on to their collection, getting you your business sustained and moving forward. The best thing that I love is that I sell $400,000 in the last 3 months of the year. And that all because I keep in contact with my customers heavily at that time of the year. And I let them know, if there's a time that you buy Cutco, buy it then, because I'm going to give you a crazy, ridiculous turbo deal because you're my past customer. And now that you are a past customer, you deserve to get better discounts. You deserve to have everything because you've been loyal to me, and I'm super loyal to you.
I am so appreciative and thankful for all 5 of you and your time. 5 of the greatest brains in company history and 5 of the most outstanding talents that Cutco has ever seen. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Drew. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.